Hey guys, Matt here. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can improve your chances on ranking your gig on the first page of search results on Fiverr. And for that purpose, let's jump right into Fiverr. And I'm going to show you where my gigs are ranked so that you know that I know what I'm talking about. And along that, I'll show you basically everything you need to know about ranking on Fiverr. And so we are here on Fiverr right now. I've opened an incognito tab so that my search results aren't skewed by my personal account. And basically, first of all, before I show you how you can rank your gig higher, I'm going to show you actually where you can rank your gig on Fiverr. There are different, let's call them categories on Fiverr where you can get ranked. So number one is the keyword search, which I would say is probably the most common way buyers will discover you. So they come on Fiverr, right, and they have the search bar here, and they can put in keywords to find your gig. Now, in my case, I offer translation services from German to English. So if I were a buyer, I might type in something like, for example, translate German, right? So we got to translate German, and this is basically the buyer made a keyword research, and now here are all the search results. And as you can see, this is my gig right here. I already rank on page number 1. So this is the first way buyers can discover you, and I would say this is probably the most common way of the buyer funnel. Somebody comes on Fiverr and they research you with a keyword research. Now, another way buyers can discover you is by going through categories. And so you can see down here, there are Fiverr basically separates its services into categories. And so in my case, if I were to look for translation, I might click on writing and translation, and then there's some subcategories. So I go to translation and I come here. And in case of translation, this is very high level, right? Because it doesn't specify the language yet. But as you can see, again, I'm ranked on page number 1 here. But then the buyers can go ahead and, for example, pick a language. So I want to translate from English to German, apply. And then the search results get narrowed down even further, right? And so it's important basically to understand what the buyer journey looks like on Fiverr to know where you can get ranked and how you can get ranked higher. And as you can see, my gig is right here. So we covered keyword research, categories. Another way you can get ranked is seller recommendations. Now, what do I mean by that? If we take my gig, for example, so we come here, this is my translation gig, and you can go down here, and then basically if a buyer takes a look at my packages, he might say, okay, I think this gig is too pricey for me. Are there alternatives, right? And then Fiverr will, similar to Amazon, show them recommendations of other sellers that might fit their needs. So for example, this guy seems to have the same price as me. However, this seller here seems a bit cheaper. And so he might click on here and choose to go with that seller, right? And this is another way that you can be discovered on Fiverr. And basically I'm covering this to show you what journey do buyers go through to discover your gig and where can they go, right? So we've covered keyword search, seller recommendations, categories. And then another way buyers can discover right now is professions. This is a fairly new thing on Fiverr, where basically on your seller profile, you can say that you're an expert in a certain profession, and Fiverr verifies that. It's also not available for all categories. So for example, for me as a translator, it's actually not there yet. And I actually also don't know how you would actually discover those professions. So if you go to explore, let's see, learn blog, logo maker, answers, Fiverr Pro. I actually haven't found where you can discover the professions. And I would say, even if it's easily discoverable, it's probably not that relevant at the moment. And also, you have to put yourself in the shoes of like a new buyer, right? Someone who needs something done. He's heard about Fiverr, and he comes here. What is most likely how he's going to discover you? He's either going to do a keyword research or go through categories and not bother with, going through the whole site and going through all the functionalities. So I would say professions are probably not that relevant for ranking on Fiverr and getting more buyers to click on your gig. So next up we have Fiverr Pro, which is kind of a big one. So if we're on the landing page of Fiverr here, we can click on this Fiverr Pro, and in case of a buyer, we would click on I'm looking to hire. Okay, so this wants to verify that I'm a human. Let's do that. And then we land on Fiverr Pro, which you can recognize on the top left with the changed logo. And now here, basically everything that we covered so far, which is keyword research and categories, you can find the exact same structure on Fiverr Pro, except you will only find pro sellers. So again, if we go here and say, in my case, translate German, we will land on this page, and Fiverr Pro, the search results are separated into the Pro catalog and the full catalog. And so on the Pro catalog, it's depicted like this. And you can see here, there are 34 pro freelancers for Translate German. And the buyer can just go down, this is me right here, and he can discover the pro sellers this way. Now, the great thing about being pro on Fiverr is that obviously it's a lot easier to compete with 33 other pro freelancers than, for example, with 20,000 other sellers in the usual category. And then there's also the full catalog, which let me actually check. I would assume in the full catalog, yeah, these sellers are not pro. Exactly. So basically what Fiverr is doing here is for the convenience of the buyer can search in the pro catalog, see only the pro recommendations, but then the buyer might say, this is all too pricey for me. So let me actually go back to the full catalog. And then again, we're basically back to square number one, where we started on the usual Fiverr landing page, and you're getting ranked here again, right? Just as in the usual search. And so this is Fiverr Pro. And then there are two more things left. One is Fiverr Neo. Now, Fiverr Neo is Fiverr's chat AI, and it offers buyers and sellers basically to chat with the AI, and they can get recommendations on freelancers that can help them with the project. Now, I haven't used this personally yet, and again, if I put myself in the buyer's shoes, I just land here on the Fiverr landing page. What's the chance that I'm gonna go through here and really put in the work and find out about all the capabilities of Fiverr if they don't just, make them easily visible? So I don't think that's really relevant, and you shouldn't be bothered about this too much, especially if you're a new seller, but I just wanted to mention it. And then the last bit in where you can get ranked is Fiverr Go. Now, Fiverr Go, at the time of this recording, literally launched like 3-4 days ago, and it's Fiverr's attempt. Oh no, let's go back. It's Fiverr's way of giving sellers more AI tools, either in the form of a personal chat assistant that basically handles client requests for you, or, and this is the important part for ranking, you can explore gigs that offer AI services. So for example, we have voiceover gigs where basically the seller has uploaded samples of their voice over work to an AI, and now the AI can basically generate voiceovers based on that seller's voiceover work, and buyers can just come here, click start generating. I probably have to sign in first, and then just buy from there, right? Now, this is so new, and it's also very restricted because it's mostly restricted to, I would say, creative work, in that basically anything that has to do with illustrations or voiceover work, and that you can more or less automate with AI. Fiverr said they will roll out more categories over time, but which they are is a bit uncertain. So I just, for the sake of completeness, I wanted to mention this. And but it's so new that it's hard to tell how you rank here. And I would simply, for the time being, assume you rank the same way here as you rank on the keyword search or in the categories. You just have to deliver good work, have high ratings, and all the other metrics that we're going to come to at the end of the video. And so these are the ways that you can get ranked on Fiverr. This is the overview for you. All right. And now the big question is, well, what actually influences your ranking? And this is important to understand, because if we understand how Fiverr ranks us and how we can get on page 1, this is where we can take action to optimize our profile and have a higher chance to get ranked on page number 1. So what influences our ranking? First of all, there is the public rating. So if we go back to Fiverr, and again, I'm just keeping with my example here with my own gig. We want to translate German, right? We click on my gig here. And so the public rating, if we scroll down here, is basically, so you can see my gigs here, right? And this is the star rating. Fiverr has a 5-star rating system. And basically every time somebody buys for you and you successfully complete the order, the buyer has the option to leave a rating. And so if we go down here, here are all the ratings for my gig, right? So this is an example of a rating I received a month ago. And this buyer gave me 5 stars. And just as on e-commerce platforms, the average of all your ratings gives you the complete total rating, which in my case is a 4.9. And now, obviously, the higher our public rating is, the better Fiverr will rank us, because ultimately, when it comes to working on Fiverr and getting ranked, you really just have to understand one concept. Fiverr wants as many gigs on page 1 of the search results that will make buyers buy and keep buying, right? So if you understand the simple concept, we can fairly say, okay, if your rating is higher, ideally a 5 out of 5, you will get ranked higher. Now, next up is the private rating. So if you buy something on Fiverr and you complete your order, or the seller completes your order, you can leave a public rating, as I've just shown. But then basically a few days later, Fiverr will reach out to you on your Fiverr account and tell you, hey, how satisfied were you with this seller's work? You can give us a private rating here. And the private rating is neither visible to the public, nor is it visible to the seller. And this is a second chance for the buyer to rate your work. And the idea behind this is that oftentimes, people don't want to get into conflicts, or they actually, even if the work they received from the seller was not perfect, a lot of people shy away from giving a bad rating because, they don't want to hurt the seller, basically, right? There are a lot of people like that out there. And so in a private rating, they have the chance to rate your work without this added pressure of it being publicly visible. And so the private rating is extremely important because basically Fiverr will look at a gig and say, okay, maybe this gig has a 5-star rating publicly, but a 4-star rating privately. And I would say that Fiverr probably rates the private rating higher, because it's probably a more honest reflection of what the buyer thought of you. And so this is important to keep in mind, and we'll come to how we can basically manage the private rating, how we can make sure it's as high as possible. Next up, the seller level will influence how high you rank. So this is a Fiverr page right here, which shows you all the seller levels there are. We have new sellers, level 1, level 2, and top rated. And it's very simple, right? The higher the seller level, the better your ranking will be, because if you have a higher seller level, this means that you've passed some requirements of Fiverr, which means it's more likely that you deliver great work to your buyers. And a next category that influences the ranking is recent activity. So what I mean by that, for example, if we take a look at my gig here, right, you can see, for example, this buyer left a rating 1 month ago, this one 2 months ago, another one 2 weeks ago, 1 month ago, and so forth. And basically, again, I'm coming back to this concept of, well, what does Fiverr want? Fiverr wants just as many buyers to purchase your service as possible and be satisfied with it. And so if a gig gets bought often, this means that you as a seller are very invested in Fiverr and your gig. You might be doing this full time. And so it's better for buyers to click on your gig, because it's more likely that you will deliver their purchase faster and they will be more satisfied. And so if you have regular orders coming in, this will also mean that Fiverr will rank your gig higher. But then there is also stuff like, how fast you respond, and how fast you deliver, how often you respond, and basically everything that shows Fiverr that you're really invested into working on Fiverr will probably rank your gig higher. Next up, we have ads. So basically, as soon as you pass seller level 1 on Fiverr, you get the option to promote your gigs. And basically, you can see this here, right, in the search results for Translate German. You see here that next to the seller name, there's this, it says add buy. It's also the case for me, which means this gig is promoted. So you're basically paying Fiverr to rank your gig higher, and so that more buyers will see it, and hopefully the more people see your gig, the more people will buy from you, right? This is very straightforward. You're simply paying Fiverr to rank you higher, but it's very effective. And next up is gig tags. All right, so I'm on my gig page right now, or the gig setup page. And if we're talking about gig tags, it's this part right here in the gig setup. So here we basically tell Fiverr, look, for these search terms or for these keywords, I want to be ranked. So anytime a buyer, in this case, types in German translation, German English, English translation, I'm telling Fiverr, look, please rank me for these keywords, right? And basically you need to think about what will buyers search for if they want to find your gig, and then put it in here for the search tags. And then the same goes for keywords in the title. So up here I have the title of my gig, and again there should be keywords in the title that tell Fiverr, okay, where should I put you, right? For example, here I have the keyword translate English to German in my gig title, also German to English, and this tells Fiverr, please rank my gig if somebody types in translate English to German, right? Or probably even translate English German, something like that. And so this also influences your ranking on Fiverr. Then in the same vein, we have keywords in the gig description. So if you go to the description here, this is basically what buyers will see when they click on your gig, and they can read through there. And this again should contain keywords that you want to get ranked for. So for example, for me it's English to German, stuff like Amazon product listings, and so forth. So this is also a way for me to rank higher in the search results. And last but not least, we have other Fiverr metrics. What do I mean by that? I mean stuff like other Fiverr metrics is stuff like if we go on my gig, right? Okay, yeah. So for example, here on the bottom left, we have my average response time is 2 hours. That's something that Fiverr tracks, and the best you can be on Fiverr is average response time 1 hour. So they don't really measure in minutes or anything. And basically you have metrics, right? Average response time, delivery on time, response rate, like do you respond at all to people inquiring? And the better all of these metrics are, the better also Fiverr will rank your gig, right? Because they want sellers that respond fast, always respond, and if they get an order, they complete it and deliver it on time. So those are like other Fiverr metrics you have to think about. And then basically the last two pieces that will influence how you get ranked on Fiverr is the click-through rate and the conversion rate. And this again brings me back to, well, what does Fiverr want? Fiverr simply wants buyers to purchase a service, be satisfied, so they come back to purchase even more. And so the click-through rate in our case is, if we go to the search results, well, people will go through here and look for a service, and then they will click on your gig, right, if they like your gig. And so basically the higher a click-through rate is, so the more people click on a gig that see it, the better for Fiverr, because clicking on a gig is one step in the journey towards buying, right? So the more people click your gig, the better. And so if you have a gig that has a very high click-through rate, Fiverr will favor you over other gigs. And then the same goes for the conversion rate. So the conversion rate basically tells you how many people that click on your gig actually end up buying your gig, right? This might be the most important rate, because if you have a very high conversion rate, this means you're a good communicator, buyers trust you, and Fiverr wants more of that, right? So the click-through rate and conversion rate also highly important in ranking your gigs on Fiverr. And these are all the factors influencing how you're getting ranked. I know this is a lot, but it's important to have this overview, because once we know where we get ranked and what influences our ranking, now we can actually answer the question, well, how do we rank higher or on page one? And basically on the right side here, I have actionable or like actions that you can take to improve your ranking for all these factors. So let's start with public and private rating, right, which is your star rating system. How can you increase those and therefore probably get ranked higher on page number one? Well, number one, obviously you need excellent service, which means you offer something on Fiverr and you need to deliver perfectly every time so that buyers are satisfied, and if they are satisfied, they're more likely to leave a good private and public rating. Next up, you need proactive communication. Now this starts when the buyer first messages you. You should be proactive in asking the buyer about the requirements, really making sure that you understand everything the buyer needs. And then also, for example, if the buyer is ready to buy and says, okay, I'm good to go, send them a custom offer in Fiverr, right? Don't tell them, go to my gig page and order there. Just send them a custom offer and basically take as much work off the buyer's shoulders as possible. And if you do this constantly, and also while you have an order, you actively communicate to a client and give them updates on where you stand in the order, when they can expect the order, or if you have questions, you reach out to them. This will all influence the buyer's impression of you, of your service, and make it more likely they leave a high rating. And this actually also goes for a rating request, because what I like to do is once an order is completed, I always reach out to the buyer, thank them for their order, and tell them, if there's anything you need, I'm always here for you. And then I simply ask them for a rating. You're not allowed to ask for a good rating, but you're allowed to ask for a rating. And this way you will get more ratings and more good ratings. And then also what goes in there is expectation management, which kind of is intertwined with proactive communication. But basically, the clearer it is for the buyer what they can expect from your service, the less likely it is they will have a bad experience. Because if a buyer knows exactly what they are paying for and you deliver exactly that, there is really no room for the buyer almost to be dissatisfied if you deliver good work, that is. And so managing expectations by, clearly building out your gig, clearly telling in the gig what's included, what's not. Also, while chatting with the buyer before they buy and really telling them, look, this is what you can expect, this is not what you can expect, will really make sure that you get higher ratings. Next up, concerning the seller level. Well, for the seller level, it's quite easy, right? We have again this seller level page here from Fiverr. You just get started in Fiverr and you work your way up through these levels. And Fiverr is very transparent with this, which is awesome. So for example, to get to level number 1, you need 5 completed orders with 3 unique clients, $400 plus in earnings, a success score of 5 plus, 80% response rate, and at least a 4.4 rating. So really, basically, if you go through your Fiverr journey and continuously optimize your gig and continuously deliver great service, you will at least get to level 2, which is already very good. And then over time, if you really keep at it, keep delivering great work and get committed to Fiverr, you can even get top rated like I am. And this will obviously rank you higher. Next up, we talked about recent activity. I mean, a no-brainer is just use the Fiverr app, download it on your phone, turn notifications on, and this way, whenever a buyer messages you, you will always be there for them and you can respond as fast as possible. And then also make sure that you deliver fast. Obviously the work should be great, but the faster you deliver, the better it is, because basically you tell Fiverr, look, I'm getting an order today, I deliver after 2 days, so I'm really good at delivering fast quality work. Please send more buyers my way, right? So please rank me higher. And these are basically actionable tips that I can give you. Now for ads, you just run ads on eligible gigs and you test it out with a low budget first. You have ads available from seller level number 1. And I can show you in my account that for me at least, ads have worked really well. So if I go in here, this is what it looks like. So you have this dashboard with all the gigs that are eligible to be promoted, and you manage a daily budget that you're willing to spend on your ads. And as you can see, it has a really good ROI, right? Or ROAS. In the last 60 days, I spent about $400 and I got back about $3,000 in sales. So this is also a really no-brainer way to rank your gig higher on the search pages. And one caveat I would say is you should really make sure that you figured out your service delivery and that you know how to deliver a great experience to clients, so that basically when you turn on ads and put fuel on your gig fire, so to say, you keep on delivering good service, right? What you don't want is suddenly get a lot more buyers and then be overwhelmed and then gather up some bad reviews. This would be counterproductive. So before you do that, just make sure that you have everything in place in terms of your service delivery. Next up, for the gig tags, this is pretty straightforward. Just research the right keywords for your niche. So what you can do on Fiverr is, if you go to the homepage, right, or here basically in the search bar, you can type in keywords and Fiverr will give you recommendations, just like basically in any other search engine, what people are usually looking for when they start typing in, for example, in this case, translate. So it seems like, for example, for my category, people most often search for translate German to English, and this tells you that translate German to English is a commonly used search term. And so basically do your keyword research here, play around, find out what is most important for a niche, and then you can put those tags into your gig tags, right? And the very same concept also goes for the keywords in the gig descriptions, is really the same. And then regarding the other Fiverr metrics, these are completely 100% in your hand. If you have the Fiverr app downloaded on your phone, you can always control responding fast, always responding, and always delivering on time. And you should make sure that your order cancellations are near zero by proactively communicating and just making sure that the buyers are satisfied. So regarding these other 5 metrics, these are really completely under your control if you just work disciplined on your Fiverr gig and really take it seriously, and respond fast and always respond. And then regarding the click-through rate, so how many people actually click on your gig that see your gig, there are several things you should do. Is you should optimize the thumbnail. So the thumbnail is this picture that people see, and optimizing the thumbnail means you should be seen in the thumbnail with a nice picture of yourself and not too much text, not too many images. This is probably rather a video for another day, a whole video for itself, but you should optimize the thumbnail. You should optimize your gig title. As I said before, put in keywords that are relevant to your target audience. And then what many sellers are not doing is you should put adjectives in there, right? So for example, this seller right here, she says, I will translate English to German, translate German to English, right? She has a lot of keyword, which is perfectly fine. But there's, for example, the seller next to her, she says, I will professional translate. So this can really give you a boost in the click-through rate. If you just put in an adjective in there, it makes it more appealing to buyers. So for example, what I say is, I will naturally translate English to German. And it's just a little trick that you can use. You should optimize your profile picture. So the profile picture, it can hardly be seen on the search results, but it can be seen, right? And it's a big difference if sellers see, okay, there is a face, it looks professional. It just adds a little extra to make the seller click through. And lastly, you should have a gig video. This is actually a big thing on Fiverr, because if we just look at the search results, you look at this row, all these sellers are top rated and none of them have a gig video. So a gig video is basically you hover over the gig thumbnail and then a video starts playing that you've uploaded, and where you can give the seller information, what they will get, give them a call to action to click on the video. And this is a big opportunity on Fiverr because so many people are not doing it. It's so little work. It makes click-through rates a lot higher, and this is a big deal, big thing that you can do to increase your click-through rate. And then lastly, the conversion rate. Well, the conversion rate is how many people that click on your gig actually buy a gig. Well, for the conversion rate to be higher, basically everything around your Fiverr profile and gigs should be optimized. So if we first of all, you should have a fully optimized profile. So if we go on my profile here, there's an about section where you should write about what you're doing. You should have a portfolio section. You should have an intro video. If you can get recommendations from external reviews, you can fill out your profile with education, certifications, skills and expertise. And basically, the more you put on your profile, the more complete it seems to a buyer. And actually, this wasn't in the public view. This is what it looks to a public, to a buyer, basically, right? Also, there's a client section that I haven't gotten even yet. But basically, the more you can add here, the more professional it seems to a buyer if they check out your profile, and the more likely they will be to buy from you. Next up, you can run promotions. So we already talked about Fiverr ads, but then there's also, if you join the Fiverr Sell Plus program, you can offer a coupon, for example, to first-time buyers, which will increase the conversion rate, right? For example, for first-time buyers, you can give them a 5% discount. Next step, you should communicate proactively. This really goes for the whole Fiverr journey, but if a buyer messages you on Fiverr, really make sure that you understand requirements and they understand what they're getting from you. And this will just get them a good feeling that they can trust you and make them willing to buy from you, right? And then lastly, to increase the conversion rate, you just have to make sure that your offer is competitive. So we've talked a lot about, how to rank on the page and everything, but you really need to do your market research in your niche and make sure that your prices are competitive, right? For example, for me, this is my pro gig, so it starts from $100, and if you compare it, it sticks out quite a lot. So I mean, there's another pro gig here that has $100, but most of these gigs, they start from like $5, $20. So with this gig specifically, I'm only trying to attract buyers that have the budget to work on more high-end projects. But then I also have another gig down here, which is targeting the more budget-conscious buyers. And the thing about my gigs is they're actually priced the same because I'm priced per word, but it's just here the barrier to entry is lower at $20. So basically what I did, I went through all the gigs of my competition and was looking, okay, where do I stand with my price point, with the value that I offer, and is it competitive or not? So basically do your market research and make sure that your offer is competitive. And that's it about ranking on page number 1 on Fiverr. There's a lot that we covered basically. So where you can get ranked at all, what influences your ranking, and how you can rank higher and on page number 1. I hope this gave you a lot of value. Hope this helps you rank your gig higher. If you want to see more content like this, I'm fully dedicated to providing you the best Fiverr content, and I'll also be launching a school community soon, completely for free, where you can join and where I'm going to give you a complete Fiverr course to get you to your very first order completely for free. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.